Colonia Tovar is a town of Venezuela, capital of the municipality Tovar in Aragua state. Founded in 1843 by a group of immigrants from the then-independent state of the Grand Duchy of Baden, is characterized by maintaining the cultural imprint of their origin, so it is called the Germany of the Caribbean. The economy depends primarily on agriculture and tourism, and the town is located 42 kilometers from Caracas. The Colonia is known for its temperate crops and the derivatives. Since 1990 has shown a high rate of population growth, rising from 3,373 to 21,000 inhabitants in 2016. History. Between 1806 and 1918, a state called the Grand Duchy of Baden occupied much of the eastern bank of the Rhine River in the southwest corner of the mountainous wine-producing area Kaiserstuhl. For this duchy came the majority of settlers in Colonia Tovar. A colonizing company was formed, composed of Colonel Agustin Codazzi and Ramon Diaz, and as guarantor Martin Tovar y Pont. Codazzi contacted residents of Kaiserstuhl and selected an area where the colony would be founded, choosing a site with geographic and climatic similarities to the German region. The land chosen belonged to the nephew of Count of Tovar, Manuel Felipe Tovar, who donated it for the creation of the colony. On October 14, 1841, the territory was founded as Palma del Tuy and construction of infrastructure was begun. Once completed, the colonizing company went to the town of Endingen in Kaiserstuhl to select the settlers. The contracts between the company and immigrants were signed at the Inn der Frauen, located a few meters from the entrance to the city. The immigrants who sailed to Venezuela amounted to 391 people, 240 men and 151 women, most of them from Kaiserstuhl. They departed for Venezuela on December 18, 1842. They traveled along the Rhine, embarked at the port of Le Havre on the 19th of January 1843 and arrived at the Liguara on the 4th of March aboard the French ship Clemence piloted by Captain Malverin. The ship was scheduled to land on the Puerto Maya coast north of La Victoria, but given that there had been no previous journeys following the path traced mapped by Codazzi, the ship was forced to turn to Coroni to go up the alternate path. This path was also designed by Codazzi and opened by the engineer Inda Pellegrini, leaving La Victoria to the place assigned for the new population. However, they could not disembark immediately in Coroni because there had been an epidemic of smallpox declared on board and the passengers and crew had to be quarantined in Coroni from March 13th that same year. On March 31st, they headed to the city of Marica in La Victoria, where they were received by President of Venezuela Carlos Sublet. Settlers arrived in Palma del Tuy on April 8, 1843, 112 days after leaving Baden. That day is considered the foundation day of Colonia Tovar, which took the last name of the donor. Among the first residents there were scientists, naturalists, writers and painters, such as Carl Ferdinand Appen, Hermann Karsten, Karl Moritz, Anton Goering, Ferdinand Bellarmine and many others, some of whom are buried in the city cemetery. Initially, the village was organized around the production of coffee. As Los Colonieros were thriving, production spread to new lands and activities such as growing vegetables and fruits, and a good market for these goods was found in Caracas, La Victoria. The manufacture of barrels, using quality timber of the zone, also became a source of income. For many years the colony was connected with Caracas by a river. The difficulty of communication, isolation and the environmental settings so different from the mountains of Germany kept the people isolated for quite some time. With a very slow population growth and even negative at some point due to rural exodus, the trend began to revert from the 1960s onwards, when Colonia Tovar was declared of tourist interest. With the development of communications and tourism needs of Caracas, Maracay and other cities, which led to significant economic development. Today it is one of the richest towns in the country measured by population and one of the highest in terms of quality of life. Colonia Tovar's prosperity in turn led to high population growth, from 3,373 to 14,309 inhabitants in 2001. Currently the paths tend to become congested at weekends due to the large number of visitors. The ancient descendants of early settlers are fully integrated into the country and have been crossbred with the native population. The town speaks Spanish and some have had to rescue the knowledge of German and improve because of the demands by the arrival of many German tourists, who are always surprised to find a typical German town in the tropics. Geography. The Colonia Tovar is located almost 2,200 meters above sea level, in the central coastal mountains of the Venezuelan coastal range. It is connected with Caracas and La Victoria by road. Its climate is temperate mountain with daily thermal amplitudes of about 8 degrees Celsius with a mean of 16.8 degrees Celsius and frequent mists, especially at dawn and evening. The data on average temperature and rainfall amounts of Colonia Tovar month are: location, lat. 10 degrees 25 N, long 67 degrees 18 W, altitude 2,200 meters. Temperatures in degrees C. In January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Annual average temperature, 10.7 degrees Celsius. Rainfall in mm, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Amount annual rainfall, 1,271 millimeters. The city is located in the northern of Aragua state. The municipality has the shape of an LT, and LT, L and GT, and bounded on the north by the Caribbean Sea, the northeast by the state of Vargas, in the east Caracas, in the south bordering the Aragua River, and east ends with the Santiago Marino municipality. The Colonia Tovar is settled in very rugged terrain with creeks and streams. Prevail mountain landscapes of misty appearance characteristic of the Venezuelan coastal range, which is the greater height of Aragua state. The Codazzi Peak of 2,429 meters, located north of the town. The cloud forest that characterizes the dominant vegetation changes as you lower rungs of the relief as gallery forest and ends with savanna weeds, southward and xerophytic in the North Sea. The colony is surrounded by houses relatively far apart in many small plots of intensive use. It develops an intensive agriculture, high productivity and profitability. Flowers, strawberries, tomatoes, peaches, garlic, peaches and other temperate crops. It has also installed ceramic craft workshops, sausage factories, cookies and candy, breweries, canned foods, in addition to traditional agricultural activities that result in the marketing of vegetables, fruit, flowers, pork and its derivatives, etc. Hydrography. Flora and fauna of the hydrography of Tovar municipality is divided into 3 basins of the Caribbean Sea, formed by the rivers San Miguel, Ocumare, Carta, Iroa and Tui of the Orinoco River, formed by the Memo River and the Guarico River, and the end of Lake Valencia where empty into the rivers of Aragua, Termero, Maracay, Tapatapa, Tacorin and Las Minas. The river Aragua, southern boundary of the Colonia Tovar, was formed by the confluence of the rivers Gabante and Curtidor, a level of Pderuvo, at north of La Victoria. The river Gabante, in turn, is tributary to Quebrada Honda, while the river Curtidor converge river San Carlos and Quebrada Coche. All these rivers and streams rise in the high mountains surrounding the Colonia Tovar. The headwaters of the Tui River are near the town. In its first stage as a mountain river, the city is located in a catchment area of the river, which forms a kind of amphitheater. The Colonia is located within Codazi Peak Natural Monument and near the Henry Pittier National Park. In addition to its diverse climate zones and flora, the Colonia Tovar has a great diversity of wildlife, mainly species of birds, which includes a total of 578 registered species. The region has a rich fauna, recognized for its biodiversity, especially migratory birds. Mammals and snakes also contribute to the diversity of this area. In the Estación Biológica de Rancho Grande is a zoological museum with the species of the area, plus an informative trail of interpretation of the biological processes that occur in the cloud forest. It also has facilities and equipment for users to review the material under appropriate conditions such as magnifying glasses, water, trays and instruments of measurement and accessible literature. Among the diverse flora include orchids, bromeliads and varieties of tree ferns. The fauna is characteristic of cloud forest, is habitat for many species due to its state as climax. Among the wildlife species most characteristic referred to in golden-headed quetzal, toucan beak emerald bottle, also known by the residents with the name tiartaro. Quote, among the most common primates include black howler. There are also hummingbird, coludo blue and tiles swallows, also common tara butterfly, mountaineer armadillo and many more. There are two paths, the road to El Junquito and Route La Victoria, the last of a remarkable beauty. Economy. Because of agriculture, Los Colonieros have spread around the grounds surrounding the valley when it started the boom in coffee exploitation. After growing his fruits and vegetables got good market in Caracas and La Victoria. Currently, weekends and holidays, near the church, farmers and craftsmen set up a market with stalls that resemble typical houses with red roofs, offering local produce, mainly fruit, flowers, vegetables, plants, candy and crafts. Tovar also produces quality wooden casks, which are famous in and out of the mountain. Los Coneros also produce other crops and goods originating in European culture, such as peaches, tree tomato, passion fruit, strawberries, blackberries, figs, vegetables, bread, sausages, pastry, sauces and pasta, beer, wood, ceramics, wrought iron and crafts in general. With the influx of tourism from the 1960s, settled hotels in cozy and familiar cottages, also installed restaurants in traditional huts, serving typical dishes of Colonia culture. Tourism, mainly from Caracas, Valencia and Maracay, has been replacing agriculture as the main economic activity in the Colonia since. Language and culture. Tovar was organized from the beginning as a closed community. The founders had the intention to maintain their cultural traditions for a long time. Upon their arrival, they built houses retaining the distinctive architecture of the Kaiserstuhl. The Badish, Baden dialect, was the language that dominated the area and food and clothing remained intact. Even for a time, marriage outside the Colonia was forbidden in order to ensure ethnic and cultural continuity. Although the official language of Venezuela is Castilian, the majority of people in Colonia Tovar speak Alemanish, Alemanic, Aleman Coloniero precisely. It is a variant language that was inherited from previous generations after 150 years. Although many phonetic and lexical terms are no longer used in Europe, Alemanic belongs, next to Bavarian, to the branch called Upper German of the Germanic language family. The houses, buildings, and shops in the city are also made according to the Alpine style, giving it an unmistakable peculiar identity. The Church of St. Martin in the center of town is a true copy of the Endingen in Germany, where the founders were from. In 1940, Spanish was established as the official language and exogamous marriage became a free practice. In the early 21st century, the inhabitants of Tovar started to integrate into Venezuelan culture without abandoning the customs. Among the traditions that remain is craftsmanship, heritage of the founders, preserving traditional skills in arts and crafts in wood, ceramic and other materials. There is also the Academic Center of Violin, a school that prepares students in the art of manufacturing, maintenance and repair of symphonic instruments. Gastronomy. The cuisine of the Colonia Tovar is conditioned by its German origin. In small popular restaurants are famous desserts of the Colonia, such as strudels, Gugelhupf cakes and churros, or meat with cream. The traditionals Kaiserschmarrn, Germnodel, Apfelstrudel and Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte, known in English such as Black Forest cake, along with charcuterie and specialties including the famous German sausages. It is also characteristic of the cuisine of Colonia the Tovar beer, which occurs in the area. Dances and celebrations. Oktoberfest Beer Festival in Colonia Tovar is held annually in October, the Germanic traditional festival known as Oktoberfest. On occasion, groups from Germany have been invited to play traditional music. It also performs the International Festival of Chamber Music Colonia Tovar. On April 8 it celebrates the founding of Colonia. To this date there are cultural activities in the Plaza Bolivar. The celebrations include a parade involving educational, dance groups and cultural associations, local and guests. It also performs the annual election of the Queen of Colonia Tovar. The Carnival. During the Carnival, parades are made of jokelis and gorillas. The jokli is a character that exists in Germany since 1782, a mixture of jester and harlequin. The dress consists of a red suit with fringe on collar, sleeves, waist and legs, which reveal bells. They placed a three-pointed hat, white gloves and pointy shoes. They also have a wooden mask made for each jokli in particular, a carved wooden stick which carries a knotted rope and the other side a pig's bladder. A globe is the instrument that usually hit bystanders who observe this holiday. Festivities in honor of St. Martin of Tours. The patron saint of travelers, St. Martin, is honored on the 11th of November. In the church is an image of the saint, which was brought by the founders from Baden. The day also performs the festival of flowers, fruits and crafts, in which prizes are awarded to the excellence of the products produced in the municipality. Festivals. Two festivals are held annually, usually between March and April, one and the other between August and September. One is cultural heritage of the municipality, according to decree of the mayor of Tovar, held since 1992 and is known as the International Festival of Chamber Music Colonia Tovar. The second is Friends of Chamber Music Colonia Tovar and is since 1997. Easter, along with the religious celebration celebrations of Easter in Colonia Tovar performed the traditional German NLT and LT nests and GT to celebrate the coming of Easter bunnies with its eggs. In developing these, involving the whole family, and it is customary for the children look for eggs hidden in the courtyards. The Monday after Easter, the residents of Colonia Tovar attend the Chapel of the Resurrection. There he performed the blessing of the crops and food, and everyone shared a day of camping. The parade of the gorilla wearing a pantsuit with a beard, cover stick and a mask. Sites of interest. City Museum. The Museum of the City was created by Dr. Nestor Rojas and offers a thorough investigation about the history, customs and traditions of the Germanic people. Brikans Mall is located in the center of Colonia Tovar, Kodazi Street. This is a series of shops offering crafts particular to Germany and typical of the region. We also offer steaks, embutidos, and Vienna sausages. Kodazi Peak Natural Monument. Kodazi Peak reaches its maximum height of 2,429 meters in Aragua state jurisdiction, but is covering an area of 11,850 has also shared by the states of Vargas, Miranda and the Capital District. It was declared a national monument by presidential decree of June 5, 1991, in honor and national recognition to the Italian geographer and cartographer Agostino Codazzi, born in 1793 and died in 1859. In the natural area is installed the Archaeological Museum Panarigua, and in Panarigua, Tovar Brewery, the first Venezuelan beer made in Colonia Tovar in 1843, arrived as soon as the founders. Production has remained the same since. Its production is performed by Cervecería Tovar and preserves the quality standards required in the Bavarian Purity Law of 1516. Historical Center. Several buildings in the city center and around the Plaza Bolivar are the historical axis of Colonia. The most representative buildings of the Church of St. Martin of Tours, the Casa Codazzi and the Old School, all in the lower part of town. As is the most popular is there are many restaurants, cafes, craft shops, as well as services such as public telephones, parking and restrooms. Anno Domini Museum. Also in the center is the Anno Domini Museum, which holds equipment of the first settlers, documents, paintings belonging to Baroness Elizabeth von Seller. Media K Radio. International relations. Twin towns, sister cities. Colonia Tovar is twinned with Gallery.